Hi, hello besties, what's up? My name is Meg. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are reading literary fiction book. That was my goal for this next year, was to read a little bit more out of my comfort zone. And one of the ways to read out of my comfort zone is by reading a genre that I haven't really read before. We have 3 picks as to what we're going to read and just see which one sounds more appealing. I got all 3 of these in my Bookmas Advent calendar from my mom. And so if you are dying to know what books I got in that Bookmas Advent calendar, go check out my TikTok, link down below in my bio. We are going to be picking from one of these 3 reads. We have Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, Hello Beautiful by Ann Napolitano, and then The Names by Florence Knapp. I'm kind of leaning more or so towards Hello Beautiful by Ann Napolitano. And I think that's just because, I've just been dying to read it. It's sounded so good for so long. So I think that that's the choice that we are going to go with. So let's get started. Okay, so where we're at in the book of Hello Beautiful, we have met William, Julia's sisters. So it's Sylvie, Emmeline, Cecilia. So it's those 4 girls. And then their dad, who, in my opinion, kind of almost seems like he's an alcoholic. And then the mom just kind of barrels on. Julia, so far from what I understand, is that she makes a plan and she's kind of the one who pushes it forwards, and in a way it kind of almost seems like she's inserted herself into William's life, and I'm not quite sure yet how that kind of correlates to his whole thing happening. I don't know. We are on page 32, Sylvie's chapter. It says from August 1981 to June of 1982. So it's a full year encapsulated into a singular chapter. So it's pretty interesting, not gonna lie. When I found this book, I thought that the premise of the book was interesting. I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to be though, or how things are supposed to go into play, but it's not that long of a book. So honestly, I can't wait to read this and see what everything is. So, okay, hi, hello. So we are now this far into Hello Beautiful, and so far I'm really enjoying it. I definitely didn't think that literary fiction could be this way. I was a little unsure of how a literary fiction book would be, but I am enjoying it nonetheless. We are currently in the middle of a chapter because I wanted to update you. 72 pages into the book. We have 311 pages left to go of the book, which I know is still quite a lot, but I am really enjoying this book. I think that it is very well written. I like the way that this author describes things. So far, the way that the family dynamic of the Padavanos family dynamic works isn't how I thought it was going to be. And I think that also has to do with the fact of it talks a lot about William in the synopsis of the book, but yet it's going from perspective to perspective of the different sisters along with William. So far, we've only seen 2 of the sisters, which is Sylvie and Julia's point of view, and then William's. We haven't seen Emmeline's or Cecilia's point of view, and I don't know if we will, but I'm just very curious as to how it's supposed to go and supposed to be. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Anyways, I am really enjoying the book nonetheless. I think that it's very well written, and I honestly don't think that this book is what I expected it to be. So that's what we have been thinking so far. I'm going to keep reading, and I will update you when I get a little bit further. Okay, so it's a little bit later. We are now this far into the book. We are on page 114, and things are going very awkwardly in the book right now. It seems as though like two of the characters are at odds with each other. A lot of the family dynamic that we had talked about earlier that was very strong in their family is now breaking up. It's falling apart. Everything is changing in these girls' lives. I know that it talks about William in the synopsis, but I strongly think that the book is not about William, but it is about Julia and Sylvie. I think that they are it never talks about the other two sisters. It just continually talks through the perspectives of William, Julia, and Sylvie. And to be honest, I think that William's point of view is kind of necessary, but also at the same time unnecessary. I feel like the real story is being shaped around the sisters and how to live life with this family dynamic that they are not used to. And I definitely think that this is a great book so far. I'm loving every bit of it. I don't know at this point in time what I would be rating it, but I do think that I would rate it fairly well. I believe that it is at least indeed above a 3-star. I'm not sure how well I'm going to like it as it progresses, but I understand why it's called Hello Beautiful. I don't want to say why, but I understand. I get it. I genuinely am enjoying this book, and I really didn't think that I would be like a literary fiction girly, but here we are. And who knew that I would actually really enjoy literary fiction as a girl who loves fantasy primarily, along with thrillers and other books along those lines. We have 269 pages left for us to go. I'm going to try to read as much as more as I can. This really encapsulates the human condition of how life has happy moments, but for the most part, we stumble around not knowing what to do. Hi, besties! It's been a little bit. We're working on Hello Beautiful. We are... Okay, I stopped in the middle of a chapter. I'm going to have to restart this chapter over. I think I got distracted. I didn't get very far. I got 2 pages in. We're just going to restart the chapter. We are on page 125. I have a little bit of time here that I can take and read. We're going to take some time and read Hello Beautiful. So let's get started. We are officially going to be reading William's chapter. We are about like a third of the way through the book right now. So we're going to continue on where we're at. We're going to read. I don't know why, but I really like this sentence here. It says, the professor smelled of lemons, or perhaps lemonade. Like, what? I feel like that's such an odd thing to describe that somebody smells like. Hi, hello. It's been a few days, honestly. I've had a really bad migraine going on and everything, but we just filmed a TikTok for Hello Beautiful. We are now, I want to say we're almost about halfway. Like, are we almost halfway? We're almost halfway. We are now on page 182. So let's see how many pages we have left to read. Essentially, we have 200 pages left. Simple math, easy to do. So we are going to be doing that. So far where we're at in the book, we're really liking. I honestly didn't know what to expect with literary fiction. I honestly had to do the research as far as what literary fiction is the definition of. So the definition of literary fiction is a genre emphasizing artistic quality, character depth, thematic exploration over plot, focusing on the human condition, complex emotions, and societal issues through rich stylistic, often experimental prose, distinguishing itself from plot-driven genre fiction like thrillers or romance by prioritizing style, character development, and profound themes like identity, morality, and existence. Key elements include strong character voice, intricate themes, innovative structure, and lyrical language aiming to provoke thought and empathy rather than just provide entertainment. For character-driven, it dives deep into a character's inner lives, motive, and psychology. Thematic depth explores universal questions about life, love, society, meaning, emphasis on style, so lyrical, poetic, or experimental writing, focusing on language and voice. Ambiguity often presents complex situations or ambiguous endings, leaving interpretation to the reader. And then focusing on the why, explores the reasons behind events rather than just the events themselves. With knowing that as the key characteristics and the definition of literary fiction, I 100% agree that Hello Beautiful is literary fiction. Like, I don't really know what else to tell you. I'm really enjoying the book so far. I think that it's really well written. Hello and good morning. So it's the next day. We are about halfway now through Hello Beautiful. I did have to stop in the middle of a chapter. Luckily, I remember exactly what was going on, so we don't have to worry about that. So today our goal is to finish Hello Beautiful, and in order to do that, we need a Nalani. So let's get to it. Now, where I'm at in the book, we are going through kind of the implications of what we looked up yesterday as far as the human condition. I'm not really quite sure what else there is to say about it, other than that we need to have it get going. Other than, like, we're really starting to see the unraveling of William and Julia and a little bit of Sylvie. I honestly kind of wish that I were able to see into one of the other Padavanos sisters, which would be like either Cecilia or Emmeline, and just kind of like show that where we're at, Julia is making a life-changing for her and her family. And we're really starting to see this unraveling of William as he's trying to figure things out on his own. So that's kind of where we're at and what we're doing. So where we are at in Hello Beautiful, we are now that far into the book. Let's see here. We have 94 pages left for us to go. I'm going to take a quick break and go eat something, and then we shall get right back into reading. So we just finished Hello Beautiful, and I enjoyed this story. It definitely wasn't where I was expecting the story to go. I definitely think that it was a well thought out book. I think I'm going to give this book a 3.75 star. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the ending and everything. Honestly, it was a beautiful story. I didn't think that I would be into literary fiction because most of my reading has been just fiction or fantasy or romance, like always more so plot driven rather than driven by the character's inner turmoil. And I enjoyed this book deeply. I don't quite know what else to say. I'm still kind of gathering my thoughts, but it was a wonderful story. I highly recommend, if you're ever curious, like, take a chance on a different genre. Like, I never knew that I would end up liking literary fiction, and here we are. Highly recommend if you want to try a different genre that you're not used to. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you did enjoy our first reading vlog of 2026. Do all of the YouTube things you know how to do, and I will see you in a bit. Bye!